It's like filmmaking, y'all.
Yeah.
I hate how many people are involved.
I know exactly.
Like, I love it, but
it takes a lot of people to make.
If I just made music, I could just go sit in my room for an hour and write an album. Welcome to Kickphase, the podcast. We are back. I gotta come in with energy because last episode I listened to it back and I was like, man, we were dead.
We were tired.
I don't know what it was. It was such good material, but I was editing it and I was like, yo, this is about to be boring.
Such a serious subject.
Because I had no energy. We were talking like, so yeah, I guess that's how I don't know. I don't know how to like recreate it, but feeling good today. Got a lot of energy. Ready to podcast.
I'm ready for this subject, to be honest with you. I'm really, really ready for this subject.
But before we get into that, on our third episode of Kickphase, the podcast, we kind of share how we experience life as like a story.
Right.
And how we're constantly gathering inspiration from all around us. If you guys haven't seen that episode, go watch it. But you came up with the brilliant idea of every episode starting it off by taking stuff from our past 2 weeks and kind of sharing something that we kind of picked up from our lives.
Exactly.
That, I don't know, it's just kind of a piece of inspiration.
Yeah. Either like a movie moment, something like that, you know? I'm
trying to think of a name for this segment, but I don't think I have one.
Golden moments, cinematic moments.
I don't like that. No. I don't know. We'll come up with a name for it eventually down the line.
Right.
But do you have any moments from this past
Yeah, I actually
week?
do. So lately, I've been doing things that I used to do in my past when I was a kid and everything like that, and just kind of traveling back to that era that I've just like used to do things that I thought were fun. Went to Walmart and I bought a basketball, and I was like, I'm gonna go play basketball. I didn't have anybody to play with me. I was just gonna go practice by myself. I'm an only child. I can do things by myself and not feel bad about it.
I play basketball. He didn't call me, but it's whatever.
I thought about it too, but I was like, I need to jump into this by myself.
And I respect it.
Because it's been so long and I suck at basketball. I'm bad at basketball right about now. Making a hoop is hard. But I went to the basketball court and I really loved it just because of the fact that I'm like, the sun was setting, it was getting darker, and I was just like shooting hoops, had my headphones in. As I was doing that, there was like a whole bunch of like fireflies flying around like as I'm doing it, and it's just like this forest. I don't know, there was some magical air about just doing that, and I loved it because I was connecting with a part of my past and just getting back to that place because I always played basketball. I was sent to basketball camps. My dad played basketball. Family played basketball. That's how we all related. So it was just cool to get back to that. So that's a cinematic moment of my week. Did you have one?
I don't know if it's okay. It is movie inspiration worthy or like story inspiration worthy. I love ramen.
Oh, okay.
You know, ramen's good.
Right.
We got a spot we hit up. It has excellent ramen.
Demoshi?
All right.
Oh.
I'm done with him. So I have a spot I hit up that has like incredible ramen. The fact that you even put Demoshi in the same sentence as Caponara is like ridiculous. Caponara is like,
it is really
good,
really
authentic.
Right.
Like your grandma is cooking up a bowl of like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's good, right. And it feels like you're in like a nice, homey, cozy environment.
True.
So I went to a Japanese restaurant, ordered some ramen. They dropped this bowl out. Yo, they literally made it with Tops ramen.
That's hilarious.
It was like, what? Right. I didn't realize restaurants, actual Japanese restaurants, put Top ramen noodles in a bowl. It wasn't good. Yeah, it tasted like it. I literally took one bite and I was like, is this? And it kind of fell out my mouth. I have never been so disappointed in my life that
what
people do that.
I'd be pissed myself.
And then the person I was with looked at me like it was a normal thing. Like, what you mean? It's Top ramen. I was like, what? That's not what ramen. That's not. When I go to a restaurant to get ramen, that's not what I'm.
Yeah, exactly. That's not what I'm trying to get.
It's like when you've heard ramen, that's all you've ever gotten or that's all you've experienced, I need you to know that there's more out here because that was ridiculous.
There is more hope to life than just Tops ramen.
So I guess that was one of my moments.
Okay. Dang. We gonna see ramen in the script sometime soon. That's hilarious. I like that. That's a good moment, though. I'm glad you had that experience.
I'm not.
Let's get to the topic.
So the topic I'm going to go in today actually came from my job.
Right.
So I work for a company where I do videography and editing.
Right.
And the head of the company came in and he pretty much set our creative team. He pretty much shared his vision of where he saw the company going in the next few years and what our role was in making that vision a reality and what we had to bring and kind of how we had to approach the upcoming projects.
Right.
So one of the things he brought to us is the only way we were going to be able to reach that vision is if we were constantly working on our craft outside of work. And he kind of brought up that you can't be an expert at anything until you put in 10,000 hours.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which I agree with.
Right.
However, I think filmmaking is very interesting because, it takes so much work to develop a film.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And so much just preparation and so much, I don't know, it's such a big task.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
it's not something you just do by yourself and try to make a whole film by yourself.
You can't just go in a room and practice the guitar every,
Exactly.
And there's a lot of little parts. If you're a writer, you can write every day. If you're, I don't know, we talk about gathering inspiration every day.
Right.
But it's such this big task when you're looking at it, I guess, kind of from a big standpoint. It's how do you really put in those 10,000 hours doing that?
I love track. This is going to feel random, but I really do love track. And because of how broad producing, directing, and filmmaking is, I think just like any muscle or just like any event, like a track event or something like that, you have to break it down. Directing seems so broad it seems specific at first, but you're creating a film with actors and pushing them towards a certain goal of where you want them to be emotionally. However, it isn't just directing actors, but you're making conversation with actors. I don't know. I know directors that don't make good conversation. They need to learn how to relate and, I guess, conversate and share ideas and stuff like that. You can get experience from every job or anything that you do. I think it just has to be focused.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah.
And I think you made a really great point about breaking stuff down.
Yeah.
I don't know if you finished your track analogy.
I didn't.
But we both were runners, and you talk about kind of when I ran the 400. So I did break down every phase of my race. And even when training your body, anyone who works out, you don't ever look at your body as a whole. Is you have certain days and you have certain muscle groups you're targeting.
Exactly.
And every job or position you take has so many different elements going into it that you can break it down and pick up those little things at a time.
Right.
You know me, like I said, I'm always drawing inspiration. I'm always talking story. I'm always trying to learn people's story and perspectives. And I've made it a mission to, in a way, study people and learn people.
Right.
I feel like living life for a filmmaker is such a needed thing to do. I think that's homework.
Right.
To go out and experience stuff, to go to places you've never been, to talk to people you would have never talked to.
Right.
To just sit on a bus or a bus bench and watch people. I feel like that's homework.
Exactly.
But sometimes I will say that can feel like a cop-out to say when someone's like, yeah, what have you been doing?
Right.
And it's talking to people, conversing, learning people, living life.
Do you just do it to a point where it's just I'm just living life. I'm not really thinking about film anymore. It's just...
Well, this is the thing. There's so many things that can change and go wrong from the conception of a story to the delivery of a final product.
Got you.
So I feel like you can master kind of that first, or maybe not master, but kind of get really good at that first grabbing material,
right,
and not be good at any of the rest of it.
Oh, I see. I know what
and
you
then
mean.
When your film actually comes out, it doesn't mean a thing,
right,
that you did all that because the rest of the steps were so bad that it didn't come to fruition.
Got you.
Obviously, when you're kind of bigger up in the field, you have people who are in so many different positions helping you out. But I mean, everything we talk about is from the independent realm.
Yeah, exactly.
So we do a lot of the stuff ourselves. And even though we bring people in to help, it's like a lot of people are doing multiple jobs.
Right.
It's not as easy as, oh, you have this one director or writer who's doing that. And then just bring in people who have been doing the other stuff type of things. Like, you don't have the money, you don't have the resources, you don't.
Yeah, exactly. So. I know what you mean. To bring it back to the track analogy, to where you can focus on one part of your 400 and not really understand like it as a whole. So like, for instance, like, what is there, 4 phases or something like that?
Well, at least the way I broke it down, I broke it into 4 phases.
Okay. Can you name those phases really quick? And what they mean, if you remember them.
So the first 100 meters of the race was us coming out of the blocks. So it was our takeoff and acceleration phase.
Got you.
The second 100 meters of your race, hold up.
He don't remember, y'all.
I really don't. For me, I have really long legs. So in my acceleration phase, like I'm getting up to a speed, but when I hit that second 100 meters, that was where I opened up, where I kind of like pretty much settled into how I was about to run this race.
Kind of like coast, right?
I don't want to say coast, because I feel like coast is like...
It's kind of slowing down or something?
Coasting sounds chill.
Okay,
it's not
my
chill.
bad. Okay,
it's like your legs are pumping, like it's an engine. It's a steam engine that's moving. You know when like you watch like cheetahs and hyenas chasing each other?
Yeah. Okay.
When that cheetah is finally, when it's full speed flying and you finally see it fully striding out and going, that's what that second phase is.
Okay, so you describe yourself as a cheetah.
Yeah, there's the acceleration of like, oh, the cheetah about to start running.
Yeah.
And then it hits that second 100 where like you got Animal Planet in slow motion.
Yeah.
And you see the full extension and you're like, yo, that's beautiful. Like,
right.
And Morgan Freeman is like, the cheetah. That's the second 100.
That's what's going through your head, Kemp.
So then the third 100 meters of your race is what we call, or what I call, I don't know what other people call it, but what I came to call the kick phase.
Okay, got you.
Hits the name.
Yeah.
The kick phase was a moment for me in the race. It was a mental moment, a huge mental moment. You're running this race, you've exerted energy, and now your body has hit a point where you have to tell it to keep pumping.
Got you.
You know?
Yeah.
The first part of your race, you're running it. It's just natural. You accelerate it there. You're moving. Once you hit that 200 meter mark, you can coast.
Right.
Like you said, you can coast the rest of your race, or you have to be intentional. You have to kick. You have to like pump your legs on this. You have to like lean into it. If you hold off here, it's over.
Okay.
You can still come in first place.
Yeah.
You could still get a good time. You could still burn everybody out here.
Right.
But no, you're not being as effective as you can be, and you're coasting, you're cruising, you're taking the easy route out. You don't want to feel pain, like, you know. And honestly, there were races sometimes I hit the point and I'd be like, this is gonna hurt, I'm good. Right. And I would just run the rest of the race and still win.
Gotcha.
And I would tear it up still.
Yeah.
And then I would walk over to my coaches.
You could have run faster.
Literally, they could point out the point and be like, you didn't kick. And I would know. I had to mentally choose to push my body to like finish that race and be in immense pain or whatever, but like you're putting your all out right there.
Dang. Yo, I love track.
So the fourth phase of the race, your body's completely dead. You're completely depleted because you kicked.
Right.
We called it there was a gorilla that jumped on your back when you hit the 300 meter mark.
Pull you down.
And it felt like there was a gorilla on your back. It felt like the weight of the world is on you, and you just have to truly just maintaining trust, faith, everything in your form, and you're like, I mean, if we really want to get deep with it, it's like you've trained for this, you know the form, you know how to run, you know the mechanics, you know this.
Right.
So no matter what comes at you at that point, no matter any of the pain you feel, no matter everything in your head screaming quit, the finish line is right there.
Just keep going.
You just maintain.
Gotcha.
Just like you're doing it right. You wouldn't have got into this last 100 meters if you knew nothing.
Right.
So maintain, get to the finish line.
everything you just explained, I feel is like what we have to do as filmmakers. Like, I feel like there's a reason God put me in track. Basically, in your example that you gave us, to where, like, what if you have a concept of a film? It's really great. You accelerate. It's awesome. Yeah. However, you've only focused on your acceleration. You only know how to accelerate. But through the rest of it, you failed because of the fact that you only focused on the one phase. Like, if you only focus on conversation, you're only going to get better at conversation as a director or a writer, whoever this wasn't, a filmmaker, anything like that.
Yeah.
But you don't know how to write a film.
So I think you're making wonderful points.
Right.
Because you're 100% right. And maybe I shouldn't take you from this because maybe some people need to hear this.
Gotcha.
But this is my question.
Yeah.
Where do we get the creation practice? Like, where do we get the actually making a film practice?
Right.
We hit a point. We used to make a lot of short films, and you learn so much. Make a short film. There goes a great example. However,
I was about to say that one. Yeah.
We start moving into a feature film, and the mindset became, I even told you, I'm not making shorts anymore. I'm working on this feature. Like, that's where my focus is. With how much time and preparation and effort is going into that feature, it does feel like, it's like, dang, it's been a while. Like,
I got you.
You know?
Yeah.
And like, I've helped here and there on projects, little small parts like that, but none of it feels anywhere close to any of the projects we've done in the past, as far as like what you've learned, what you've gotten from it. That, I mean, I guess because we're executing it, and two, we just execute, I feel like, very differently than a lot of the circles and places we've been in. So where do we get that practice? Do you take a break from making a feature and be like, yo, let's make a short real quick and not stay rusty?
I feel like I don't know if this is the right answer, though.
I mean, it's a personal answer.
Yeah. I want to keep making shorts because I just want to get better at telling stories. Like, truly, I think shorts do help you with your skill.
100%.
Yeah, they do, like, help you know how to tell a story. But features,
the only reason I'm not doing shorts anymore is because they take so much time, and effort, and money and resources. We make so many shorts, and I'm like, you can't do anything with shorts.
That's not true. I don't feel like that's true. Okay. You can do some other things with shorts. We try to jump into contests and try to put ourselves out there with shorts.
That's true.
I mean, and then people use shorts all the time that cost little to no money just to push their YouTube channel. If we kept doing shorts and just only did shorts for a good amount of time,
you're right. We'd
be in a whole different place.
We'd be big.
But I mean, it's different than telling a feature, which you are right about.
My dream has never been to tell short films. That's just,
That makes sense. Do you feel like you're losing time when you make shorts?
I do.
Okay.
And I shouldn't.
Yeah.
I shouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like there's a difference between being a filmmaker as a hobbyist and as like
as a professional.
And I don't know why I like am so stuck on that distinction.
Mm-hmm.
My dream has always been to make feature films.
Exactly.
And I guess in the world of filmmaking, you're just surrounded by so many filmmakers. Like, the majority of filmmakers in this world only do shorts, or only do commercials, or only do music videos, or only do, I don't know. That's, to me, I guess I see so much of it.
Right.
I know for a fact that's not what I ever set out to be.
Right.
That's not what I ever set out to do. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have this mindset, but I'm like, I'm going to make my own opportunity, or I need to make my own opportunity, because I understand, one, how hard it is to like break into this world, but also I don't think the world was made for me to break into it.
Oh,
so it's like, at the end of the day, I don't even want to break into that world. I want to do my own thing.
Right.
That's a lot of the vision behind Kickphase, is to create that.
Right.
And I'm fully confident it's doable. Like, I'm not sitting here questioning anything. I don't want to feel like that. But it's still the question of like
the way. I
don't know. It's hard because it's been a minute. It's like, I feel like I haven't been creatively fulfilled. Or we talked about this last episode, in that way in a while.
Yeah, that's very true.
So it's just, do I take a step back and like make a short film or something, or try to do something, or do we just keep on the the road and be like, it's going to come eventually.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm only taking a break until I do this feature. And I think that's fair to do. I don't think that's like
fair.
A dumb thing to do.
No, it's not. I don't think it. I'm not trying to tell you it is. I feel like you shouldn't feel like you're losing time with shorts. However, I would also say you don't have to do something just to do it. Like make a short just to make a short. I feel like we all practice differently though.
Yeah.
I feel like that's also a thing to like realize too. To feel like you have to make a short in order to feel like that's the only way to know if you can make a story.
Well, I'm not questioning can I make a short.
No, yeah. No, not that you can make a short.
One, I think I'm just not creatively fulfilled.
Okay, yeah.
But two, maybe there is a little bit of, do I know how to translate these stories? Like, I think I've learned so much in the storytelling aspect.
Right.
But I do think translating a story is very different.
Yes.
And I feel like, can I translate it right now?
You're never going to know until you do it.
I really don't want to say it's a fear.
I don't think it's a fear.
Because if our feature was ready to roll today, I would go into it without a fear in the world. Like, I know I can translate that.
I got you.
I don't know where it's coming from. Maybe I just need like a physical representation of all the work and everything that's been going into this.
I got you.
All the knowledge and everything is here.
It just needs to be.
But like, it's not been manifested in anything.
Right.
So maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm just in this waiting season of waiting, growing, listening, and I'm just ready to be doing.
There are two phases, literally. There is the learning phase and the performance phase. I feel like we jumped into the learning phase to where we can make these mistakes and focus on stuff and all that. But you can't stay there because you'll never perform. Like, you have to know where you stay in the learning phase. Like, only in the learning phase.
Yeah, so what are you saying? You're saying go make a short film.
Yeah, make a short film. You could test your skills that way. But I feel like I don't want to put my time and resources right there.
Is it dumb to do that right now? That's what I'm saying. Should we just should we just be like, all right, like, we're working on this? Because also the pre-production and everything that's going into this feature right now are whole new skills that we are developing and learning. And like, we're constantly
doing something,
growing and constantly getting information. And literally every week we're like, yo, we are 100 times better filmmakers than we were last week.
Yeah.
But for some reason, since we haven't made something in a while, I'm still like,
can I tell a story?
Dang, I feel so far removed and empty from it. It's just like, what was it? It's only been a year since we've worked on a bit, but since we put together a project, Kickphase project, what has it's been a year. Yeah. Why does a year feel so long right now?
Because it's
because we were making stuff every 2-3 months.
Yeah.
So now it's like it's been a year since and like I said, we've worked on stuff. I've done so many different creative projects and things like that, but it's like actually sat down and put together a Kickphase film.
Yeah.
Short or not, it's been a minute.
I would say trust in your skills.
I trust them.
You trust them?
Yeah.
Then I feel like you could take a break for a little bit till you get to the it's not taking a break. I don't want to say taking a break.
It's not
You're
a break.
learning.
We're constantly
You're just not performing. And I guess we're not used to that, not performing.
Yeah.
You can't stay in a phase of performing or else
you gotta rest.
Yeah.
And you gotta if we're going back to track and working out in your body, you gotta let it recover.
Yes, exactly.
Because it comes back stronger.
That's the only way.
And maybe that's muscle. Where those breaks come from. Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think you would make a great short, and still not be creatively fulfilled at the end of the day because this is not done. Because how much work has been put into this. To be honest with you, because you literally just said your whole dream is to make a feature, and if this is not out, then any short that you make.
Okay. So, how do we get our production 10,000 hours?
Oh man,
still a valid question.
Yeah, no, it's still a valid question. I don't know. I guess it's like the little things that we said. Like it's like. It does come from making shorts. It does come from taking the time to make this whole project, even though we're not in production, the pre-production kind of like putting in those hours before you even get to the whole phase of it being in production. It is sitting down and breaking apart your film, your position, whatever it is, and realizing the aspects that you need to learn from it in order to get there. One thing I'm trying to, like, how I'm trying to prepare for this feature right now is I'm diving more into, like, we talked about self-distribution. I know nothing about that. I don't. But as a producer, I feel like I should know and what that takes to, like, execute it. So, for instance, like, I just keep looking up articles and keep trying to become business savvy and, like, this whole film world that I feel like I've missed in, like, film school. I feel like at this stage that we're in, we've been doing a lot of observation and review. Like, you've told me that you've looked up some stuff to where, I don't know, you've seen how other people have been executing, how other people have been doing their features as indie filmmakers. That honestly, truly, I think that's where it comes from.
Okay. I'll say another issue. When I get an idea, I feel like I have to make it.
Right.
Because I outgrow ideas.
I got you.
Did I say this before?
Yep.
And I feel like if you're not outgrowing ideas, you're not growing. I do understand some ideas take time to develop.
Right.
And you should be, like, realistic about that. If we even talk about where this idea started, it started 4 or 5 years ago. And then one day we were like, it was just an idea. And we picked it up later and we're like, oh, let's develop it now.
Right.
Because we're in the place to develop it. That's different.
Right.
But for me, I come up with so many different ideas that I'm like, if I don't make this now, I'm never going to make it. And we talk about gathering inspiration and keeping that stuff because it may come up later. So I do that.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of really good stuff that I'm like, oh, that's a full concept. But I know that, like, it's never going to come to fruition.
Gotcha.
Like, maybe I'll pull from it later, but I'm just, like, writing it down and throwing it to the side.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of great idea moments going to waste, but you also have to be very aware of what's actually pushing your vision and your mission forward and, like, what you really want to do. Because I get so many ideas, I'm like, oh, this would be brilliant or this would be great to make. But I'm like, I don't think it really falls into my vision or mission or just where I'm at in life right now or time. And it's like, I know if I don't make it now, it's never going to be made. So it's interesting because so many of these ideas are just like, I don't want to say wasted because, like I said, we keep them.
Yeah.
We may pull from them later.
But they just kind of.
But sometimes I think so many of those ideas just going by can take a toll.
Oh, I got you.
Because I feel like I'm putting a lot of those to the side and for this.
Yeah.
When you see so much inspiration and you're taking so much in where you're like, I just want to create.
Yeah.
It's hard.
That is tough. I'll tell you what. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of filmmakers do feel that way. Some filmmakers feel like that when they just have so many ideas, but they can't get nothing out. And they're wondering why they haven't got a thing out. And I think there is some time that you have to set aside in order to understand that you need to develop this one thing right now. Not forgo all the other ideas, because I don't feel like those ideas will maybe some ideas outgrow because maybe they don't fit the time period we're in anymore. But also, I feel like those ideas, like you just said, they still develop, they still grow, they change. But if you don't sit down and focus on one thing, nothing gets done. It's like being the multitasker, but you can't actually multitask. You're just you're doing everything wrong and trying to do it all at the same time.
Think that's a great point.
Yeah.
I used to have an issue. My sister's the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're very good at taking ideas and elevating them. Someone will present an idea to us or a project or something they're working on, and our natural ability and just skill is to take those and take them to another level.
Gotcha.
It's something I used to do when I was younger and still sometimes now is when projects are brought to me, I elevate them, take them to another level,
Right.
but then I put too much time and energy into it.
Oh, gotcha.
Probably more so than the person's project who it is.
Are you like pushing them out of the way of their idea of where it's
I
going?
think I'll make the idea bigger and kind of bigger than they ever intended, or take their vision to a place where it wasn't necessarily, I don't know, like it was okay being smaller.
Right.
And it just needed to be executed there.
Gotcha.
And then I'll be like, all right, let's take it here. And I'm working there and then I'm getting frustrated that they're not able to or they don't want to. And I'm like, yo, you're killing this. Like,
got you.
This could be great, but you're not, like, come on, what are you doing? Like,
right.
And it was something I had to learn. My sister called me on it all the time. She'd be like, John, that's not your project. Let it be what it's like. Yes, add to it. Yes, like raise the bar, but let it be what it's meant to be. Or not in a bad depressing way or anything
no,
like that,
I know what you mean.
it was like I was doing way too much.
Yeah.
And it's not just filmmaking, things in general. Right. If I hear a great idea, I'm like, that's dope. Yeah, let's do it.
Right.
I bring that up because you were talking about just taking on too much, and I used to all the time kind of take things that weren't mine and like
make them yours at some point, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I really had to learn to take steps back from that.
Yeah.
And now sometimes I don't add enough. And then people later are like, you should have added more. I constantly have to remind myself of where the balance is.
Oh, I see. Well, like when you're like you're critiquing a movie and you're like, I would have done this. I would have done that. I would have put this in there. I probably wouldn't have done that because that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And the movie's not even bad. You're not even making suggestions that would make it better. You're making suggestions that make it your own. So it's like there are.
So I did both.
Yeah, I was about to say you're making it better, but you're making it your own at the same time.
Some things were me making it my own. Yeah. Other things were me like there were things that just I didn't think were good. Though.
Right.
Yeah, it's finding a balance between both of those two because I had been in both places.
Oh, okay, I got you.
For example, like working on projects like.
Oh.
I really had to be like.
Oh, yeah.
Just point the camera. Yeah. No, like truly. It's just
got you, yeah.
Just that's what this is meant to be educational. It's meant to be hers.
Right.
Just point the camera. I think she did a great job, but still at the same time.
You had to give it to her.
And I was sitting in a lot of rooms early on where I had to be like, all right, Jonathan, you said your piece. Shut up now.
Oh, yeah. Remember we were doing the marketing thing? And was not having it.
What did he say? I don't remember that.
He didn't look like he was accepting them. That's what it looked like.
Oh, I do remember our marketing meeting, but I can barely remember what took place in it.
You had a lot of good ideas. I will say that. You had a lot of great ideas.
I had a lot of great ideas for that entire project, and none of y'all took them. But it wasn't my project, so I took a step back.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But I was brought into so many rooms early on, even like, hey, here's the script.
Right.
What do you think about this? Or here goes the direction we think we're going there, or directing direction. And people kept asking my advice, and then I would give it, and nobody would listen to it. And then I'd be like, Jonathan, like, this is one of those times where, like, that was one of the big first projects where I was really getting to the place where Ashley was like, my sister kept being like, Jonathan, you know how you do. This is a great time to practice.
Got it.
So I just kept taking steps back. And I think if I would have pushed more, it would have changed. And I don't know, to this day, I don't know if I'm like happy I did that or not. I think I would have got the same thing out of it.
Okay.
So I think it was good that I took a step back because other people were able to get more out of it.
Right.
If that makes sense.
That does make sense. I see what you mean.
It was definitely hard.
Gotcha.
But I was the DP.
Yeah.
So to let you guys know, I was probably overstepping a lot of this. However, it was very open and collaborative, and they were asking my advice on everything. So I didn't just unnecessarily come on a project at a DP and start
throwing weight around.
It was like, yo, Jonathan, you're a writer. Yo, Jonathan, you understand this. Yo, come in this meeting and talk to us about it.
Exactly. That's actually definitely true. You weren't going wild. But yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. And then honestly, there were moments they were asking me questions, and I'd be like, you got it. Trust yourself.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't even answer. Like I would just be like, go, like, you need to make that decision.
Yeah. No, that completely makes sense. My dad got to a point where I would ask questions, and he'd be like, look it up. Yeah. You can find it out. Find it out for yourself. I mean, we're filmmakers, and that means you are a problem solver, and you have to be somewhat decisive. You have to figure some things out for yourself. That's just how it works. Yeah. But yeah, I understand why you did that, though. Do you feel like you're at a point where you step back too much now, or are you just still figuring that out?
There was this period where I was working on a lot of people's stuff. Even if you remember the position on my old job, all I did was foster other people's creativity.
Gotcha.
And train and like give ideas, and was reading scripts people would bring me, correcting, giving it ideas, editing tips. Like it was literally just fostering other people's creativity.
Right.
And I got to a point where I was like,
I'm done.
I need to do me. Like it was frustrating. Like I loved helping these people.
Yes.
I loved elevating stuff. But then it was like this frustration of only being able to do it so much, so often, and then seeing like some of the final products or decisions people landed on, and it's like, no, come on,
this is bad.
It's just like, I was like, I need to take a break.
Yeah.
So once I left that job, it was like, yo, I need a break from that.
You needed a break from bad decisions of other people. I'm on too many sinking ships. I gotta do my own. Gotcha.
I was like, so if one other person puts my name in a special thanks, I don't want it there. I'm just kidding. I love y'all. I love some of those projects.
That's hilarious, though. Okay.
Yeah, so I needed a break. So I do a lot of my own stuff now.
Yeah, that's true.
So I put a lot of that energy into my own stuff.
Okay.
I will say there are a few projects that in this period of being in that mindset, I didn't give enough, and I do regret that. I do think there's a level of removing yourself too far.
Yeah.
Or putting yourself on like a pedestal of sorts.
I got you.
So I'll see a lot of local actors acting in a lot. Like they act all the time. Like they're 24/7 acting.
Yeah.
And one of the things I never got is why they act in some of the things they act in.
Oh, yeah.
Like it blows my mind to see some of the stuff they're in.
Yeah, that's very true.
If I see something that I worked on and it's like a certain level of execution.
Right.
I just, oh my gosh, you
know. Gotcha.
And being an actor, it sucks because you have to give so much of yourself to a project. I mean, y'all know how that goes.
Yeah.
Like, everyone wants to be a filmmaker, and everyone's writing, everyone's directing. No, not all these people are putting in the time and effort into their craft, and they're all learning. They're coming from different stages, so it's like the stuff you're getting back as an actor, and you have no control over. It's like crazy. And the situations you got to put yourself through as an actor.
That's very true.
I remember speaking to one of these actors and pretty much asking them straight up, being like, why?
Yeah.
And what she answered back to me was she just got such a joy from acting and just being in those environments and learning different people and like the things she was learning from each project.
Right.
And she knew
there was
a lot of this stuff wouldn't see a portfolio, but it was like such a joy and passion. And we go back to practicing your 10,000 hours, but it was literally, she just threw herself into it because of that. She found a way, just like we found a way to look at these small moments and pick things out in our life that were story worthy, being everything. And she found, she has the same perspective when it comes to acting in these films.
Right.
Like she's found ways to pick out the small elements and everything from them and take it in and enjoy it and truly just savor and love those moments.
That's a fantastic point, to be honest with you. Not even to like bash on like what we both been through, but I know you helping those people with those ideas. Yeah, I feel like you grew as well with what you wanted to do in some shape, form, or capacity.
I 100% grew.
Yeah,
so and they also like, grew. You know, sometimes it's just, I'm gonna be honest, it feels good just to help people and grow. Like,
that's for sure.
I wouldn't mind teaching one day.
Yeah.
And I realized like I'm a naturally born teacher. Exactly. Like I realized that's something I can't run from. I tried to run from it from a long time.
Yeah.
I'm a teacher. Sometimes you do it just for that, just to elevate people and grow their minds and enrich them, and that's fulfilling. It is. It's fulfilling in its own way.
That's the truth. That's
not creatively fulfilling, but fulfilling in
some.
It's a different fulfillment that I also need.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that may need to be fulfilled more. Sometimes it may, but I feel like I do it so often that it's not. I just don't notice it compared to the creativity.
I got you. I guess there needs to be a balance somewhere there.
Because I love when I'm doing my own projects, I love bringing people in who know nothing.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Matt will tell you the second I'm ready to fire them 24/7, and they're be like, who you going to replace me with?
Yeah.
But like, I'm about to walk into this McDonald's and ask the cashier to come.
That's crazy.
But that's how I be rolling. It really is.
This is true.
Like, I love like training and teaching people film and sharing that gift, and you know, so I did learn stuff from that.
Yeah, there's positive outcome in the learning phase, and a weird thing I guess is when you talk about the actors thing and just what we've been through, where all of us are going through a learning phase. to where, sure, the projects won't be at this level that you want to get to yet, but you have to realize, and this helps with those 10,000 hours too, you need a community, I think, as an independent filmmaker. That's the only way you're going to get better. You have to have a community, because if you need someone to tell you what's wrong, what's good, what's not, you do need like filmmakers to help you make shorts. That's where growth comes in.
Wow, and that is such, I mean, that's a gem right there. You dropping gems. And we're actually going to probably wrap this episode up on that.
Yeah.
Because I actually want to talk about community on the next episode. So I think that's a great segue. If you enjoyed this episode, please be on the lookout, because we have a really dope conversation talking about just that coming up. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Kickphase, the podcast. I'm Kemp.
I'm Matt.
Thank you for rocking with us, because we rock with you, and we'll see you in the next episode.